Dried bread rehydrated with the juices of sweet tomatoes, tossed with tuna, accented with fresh basil, and mixed with garlic-studded vinaigrette is pure bliss. So I am willing to bet that you have a can or two of tuna lurking in your pantry. And if you do, then I have the recipe for you. It is a Tuscan bread salad. Now also it's called Panzanella salad, and it's not typically made with tuna, but I love to make it with tuna because I think it really adds a lot of flavor and just takes it up a notch. So I'm gonna tell you how I make it, but before I do, if you're just here for the recipe, that's perfectly fine. You can click the timestamp below, it'll take you right to the recipe. And while you're here, leave us a comment. Let me know if you like this recipe, if you've tried this recipe, or if there's any recipes you'd like us to try on this channel. So Panzanella at its core is just a Mediterranean bread salad that's made with tomatoes. The way to make this, and I don't do mine typically this way, but I learned how to up the flavor just a little bit by adding tuna. It was by mistake, but it was really good. So I just do a bread salad with tomatoes, basil, a wonderful vinaigrette that has shallots and garlic, and then I throw in some tuna. I will tell you that I've had friends that are very skeptical at first, but once they have it, they absolutely love it, and it's probably one of the most requested recipes that I make. So let me show you how we make it. We're going to preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And while it's preheating, we're going to cut 2 pounds of tomatoes into small wedges and halves. I like to use a mixture of tomatoes in this recipe to give it interest. Then we're going to take those tomatoes and we're going to set them in a colander that's been placed over a large bowl. Then season with 2 teaspoons of salt and give them a toss. So the reason we're doing this is that we want to draw out as much of the liquid as we can from the tomatoes. When we do that, it keeps them a little bit more dry in the salad. It maintains the integrity of the salad, plus we are using the liquid drippings from the tomatoes as the base of our vinaigrette. Allow the tomatoes to drain for 20 minutes and toss them occasionally. While the tomatoes are draining, we're going to cut a baguette into 1.5-inch cubes. Mix those in a large bowl with 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Then transfer the bread to a baking sheet and bake for 15 minutes or until the bread is crisp and golden. Remove it from the oven and allow it to cool. While the bread's cooling, remove the colander from the bowl and save all the accumulated juices. And to the juices, we're going to add 1 minced shallot, 3 cloves of crushed garlic, a 1/2 teaspoon of mustard, and 2 tablespoons of white wine vinegar. Whisk constantly, pouring in a 1/4 cup of olive oil and season it with pepper. Then in a large bowl, combine the toasted bread cubes, tomatoes, and tuna with the dressing. Add your basil leaves, toss again to evenly coat. Let the salad rest for 30 minutes and toss it occasionally so that the dressing can absorb into the bread. But before we plate, let's talk about tuna for just a second. With this one, I usually use an oil-based tuna. Typically, I would not use it for anything else, but with this one, I really like it because it mixes well with the vinaigrette. I also always try to use an albacore tuna, something that is really solid, because again, we want everything to stand up and have integrity in this salad and not get mushy, which is kind of gross. So that's my choice. If I didn't have an oil one, I would probably use an albacore tuna, which is nice and flaky and chunky, or a chunk white tuna, which still has some nice integrity and flakiness to it. I probably would not use a chunk light tuna because that's what you'd use for a tuna fish sandwich, and it's just mushy and soggy and it doesn't taste very good in the salad. And now to plate this dish, I like to just turn it onto a platter and serve it family style. Just put a few utensils out and you're good to go. There's so many different wines that would be really great with this recipe, but given the simple rustic nature of the salad, I decided just to go with an easy drinking rosé. And there you have it. Let me know what you think. And if you're someone like me that loves to exploit everyday pantry items, don't forget to subscribe. Hit the bell below so that you don't miss a thing. Until next time.